G'day guys, it's Pwnsweet here. As an ambassador for World Vision, all proceeds from my videos go toward helping children and families in need. Just by watching this video, you may end up saving a child's life. See my channel for more info, and together let's do our part to heal the world. Alright guys, so what's up? It's Pwnsweet here, and today I am going to be talking about how reliable KDR is when comparing different players. But before I get onto that, I just want to start by saying that I read all the comments that you guys write on my videos. I've said this before in the past, and those of you that have been following me for a while already know this, but I do read every single comment. Whenever you guys actually write a comment on any of my videos, even the old ones, I get an email and I go through and actually read it and check it up. And sometimes I'll reply to it, especially if it's a direct question, but not always, and I do apologize for that. But yeah, look, today's video is basically going to be about KDR and whether or not it's reliable, if it's a reliable way, I should say, of comparing two different players. And I have my own philosophy on this, but to be able to sort of explain to you, or for you to understand my philosophy, I sort of first need to go through and actually explore what KDR is, what affects KDR, and only then can you really understand why I believe what I believe with regards to comparing different players using KDR. Now, I'll probably say KDR in this commentary about 5,000 times, so get used to it. There's no other way. I can't think of any other way to avoid saying it so many times. Okay, so let's get started. So first things first, what are the things that actually affect KDR? If we're going to be comparing different players based on KDR, then we sort of need to know what actually affects KDR first off. But before I even get into that, I should probably explain what KDR is for those of you who don't know. KDR simply stands for kill-death ratio, and it literally is a ratio of how many times you kill people compared to how many times you die. So if you kill a lot of players and don't die a lot, then you'll have a high KDR. If you don't kill many players and die lots, then you'll have a very low KDR, or perhaps even a negative KDR, which means you died more than you actually killed players. And that's simply what KDR is. It's just a ratio. Okay, now there are many factors, okay, that affect KDR. There's actually, by my count, there's probably about 6. And that's what I'm going to be going through over today. The 6 different factors that I've come up with. But there may even be more that I've missed or forgotten about. But I would say these 6 are the main 6 factors that affect your kill-death ratio. And I would say, these are in no particular order, but I would say the main factor that affects your kill-death ratio is obviously your experience and your knowledge of the game. How good you are in general at games and at this game, for example. So that, you know, is going to cover like your knowledge of the maps. It's going to cover your knowledge of the weapons. It's going to cover your knowledge of of tactics and strategy and that kind of stuff. It's going to, your general experience and your general knowledge of the game, and that's, I think, is going to have the biggest factor in your KDR. And that goes without saying. I mean, it's pretty obvious, obviously, right? If you're generally more experienced and you know everything about the game, then of course you're going to be better than someone who doesn't know anything about the game. It just makes sense. And so I'd say that's the biggest factor. The second biggest factor, and so, like I said, this isn't going to be in order of importance. It's just for the first two. I would say the second biggest factor in determining your KDR or getting your KDR is your connection and whether or not you ever get host. Obviously the host is going to have the best connection in the game, and so if you get host every match, well, then obviously you're going to have a connection advantage over other players, which means you're going to, get hit markers sooner, and, therefore you're going to win gunfights more often, which means you're going to kill more and die less, which obviously has, a direct impact on your KDR number. So, your connection has a huge impact. Perhaps not as big as your skill, but it's pretty close. If I go on a 1-bar connection, I'm pretty skilled at this game, but if I go on a 1-bar connection, I'll struggle. Honestly, I'll struggle to stay positive, because, the connection plays a huge factor. But I will go positive, in which case, that proves that overall, I think your skill is more important than your connection. But it's tough. It's tough. It's not easy. You can be really, really good, but it's still really tough to do well, because the connection makes such a big difference. And so definitely connection, I think it makes a huge difference there. Then we start getting into some other things, some specific things, for example, to Black Ops 2. So, there's the gold guns. If you're one of those players that try and get gold guns, if you're like, want to max out all your weapons, you want to get gold, ballistic knife and gold riot shield and all that, well, that's that's tough. You've got to really gimp yourself. You've got to really put yourself at a disadvantage to be able to do that stuff. And that's obviously going to have an effect on your kill death. What kind of gimping am I referring to here? I'm referring to, for example, to get a gold gun on your assault rifle, you need to be able to do 150 kills without any attachments and 150 kills without any perks. Now, in general, most people will do those at the same time. And so what they'll do, because it's, the most effective way of doing it, it's the fastest way of getting the gold gun. But you don't necessarily have to do that. You can, if you want, do 150 kills without any attachments, and then do 150 kills without any perks. But most people choose to do them together at the same time. And if you do that, then you're going to be having a hard time killing players, because you're not going to have, say, extended mags. You're not going to have quick draw. You're not going to have no perks. So you're not going to have any steady aim, for example, or tactical mask or anything like that. So, or hardline, for example. So without hardline, it's going to be harder to get kill streaks, in which case you're probably going to get less kills, because kill streaks can amount for quite a lot of kills for a lot of people. So that's obviously going to have a huge impact on your ability to get a good KDR. Okay. Now, if you play the game, for example, let's say you do all that and you get all your gold guns, and then you play the game and you get like 100,000 kills in the game. Well, those 150 kills for an assault rifle, or those 150 kills for an SMG, aren't going to have a huge impact, obviously, on your overall KDR, because if you play the game enough and you get 100,000 kills, then 150 is only a small portion. It's just a fraction of those total number of kills, so it's not going to have that big of an impact. But on players that just play casually, then yeah, it's going to have quite a big impact, because if they've only got 5,000 kills overall, then 150 kills is a larger proportion of those number of kills, especially if they try and do that from multiple guns. Then it's obviously going to make for a bigger difference. And that sort of ties in with the next factor. The fourth big factor that makes a huge impact I think on your KDR is the number of kills that you actually have as well. So, if you're just a person who's played one match and you got 20 kills and 4 deaths, then you have a KDR of 5. And that's it. If that's all you've played and you don't play anymore, then your KDR of 5. So that would indicate that you're a pretty good player. If all you looked at was the KDR, then you would say, oh, well, this guy has a KDR of 5. That's pretty damn awesome. I haven't seen anyone with a KDR of 5. But if that's all you look at, then you could argue that person would be really good. But the reason that you can't just do that is because they've only gotten 20 kills. They've only played one match. So obviously the number of kills is important. So the more number of kills you have, the more accurate your kill-death ratio actually is. Whereas someone with less kills isn't really, their kill-death ratio isn't really indicative of their overall skill. And so that's obviously another huge impact. Number 5, I would say, is your playstyle. So if you look at someone who just uses shotguns, for example, only shotguns, doesn't matter what the stage is or whatever, they're going to obviously be affected by that. That's going to affect their overall KDR, because if you're going to only use shotguns, well, sure, shotguns are really good for close range, so you're going to do pretty well on stages like slums or raid. But if you use shotgun on, say, turbine, then that's going to put you at a bit of a disadvantage. If you use shotguns on, I don't know, any stage really, like if you look at, say, Modern Warfare 3, interchange, shotgun is really bad. It's probably the worst stage for shotgun. So, obviously, your playstyle, if you're one of those people who just stick to just using sniper rifles or just using shotguns, then on some stages that's going to affect how you play, and that's going to obviously then in turn affect your kill death ratio. So obviously playstyle has another huge impact, I think, on your kill death ratio. And finally, I think another huge problem, or not a huge problem, another huge impact on your KDR, which a lot of people don't think about, is region and other players, like the other players that you play against. So, if you look at, for example, the brawl scene, the Super Smash Bros. Brawl scene, and this is very true in that respect, it's widely known, basically, that Americans are much better than Australians in general at Super Smash Bros. Brawl. So Corpse Create is my brother, right? And he used to play Super Smash Bros. Brawl competitively, and basically he used to win every single tournament. He used to play just in Australia, obviously, and he used to play local tournaments, and he would win. I think he won something like 13 or 14 tournaments in a row. He came first in every single one. And then what happened was he went over the East and he versed all of the Eastern States' best players, and he won there as well. And he beat all of them, and they didn't stand a chance. But then what happened was some American players came over to Australia, and he versed them, and he got destroyed. So, well, he didn't get destroyed, but they beat him, right? And so that shows you that, and these weren't even just like the best American players. They were just good, just general players from America. And these guys beat him. So that goes to show that basically kill-death ratio is also dependent on like the number of players or the other players that you actually play against. So I'm going to continue this on into the next video, guys. But this is my new outro. If you click the white gamepad, it takes you to my first question and answer video where I take questions. And if you click the black gamepad, it takes you to my first answer video where I answer the first round of questions. And you can follow that through until the rest of them. I hope you enjoyed watching this, guys. Stay tuned for part 2. If you like the video, leave a like. Otherwise, have a nice day, and I'll see you guys next time.